Alrighty. As promised, it is Sunday, and I've been doing a visual novel. Originally, I did it for April Fool's Day, and then I continued it on Thursday, and I'm back again today, and I'm going to read a bit more. Last time, it took about maybe 4 hours, of course, with me doing speculation to get through an entire night. I don't know if that will be about maybe what the length will be, but we'll keep giving it a shot, and I'm going to keep going. Don't know if I'll do another whole 4 hours and do a whole night, or we'll see how time goes for each one of the nights, so where good stopping points come up, or where I get, maybe out of talking at some point. But we'll figure it out, because I'm willing to keep going, because there's a whole bunch of mystery and other nonsense that I like doing, and I do like speculating. Like, if you've seen other of my streams before, I just randomly talk about shit like this also. I talk about random shit and make speculations for games that where people are like, shut the fuck up, stop talking about the game and just play. It's a bit like metaphor, and I was joking about the story and how it was kind of weird in certain points here or there, but yeah, I'm looking forward just to keep reading through more of this. So let me pull up Raging Loop. Full screen game. So the new stuff we ended up doing last time was for like the big recap. We got lost inside of a walled off town in Japan. In a big rural town. The town has its own superstitious history. It doesn't like outsiders. All the people who are living at this town were ostracized from the main town that lives at the top of the mountain. This is more in the valley of a mountain. And apparently they have a legend where every so often the god of the mountain chooses some people to be werewolves and then some people to be the guardian animals. The guardian animals have different abilities. They are based off of a game called One Night Ultimate Werewolf. And the werewolves allowed to kill one person a night. Meanwhile, everybody who's part of the game every day has to vote to hang one person in the hopes of hanging both werewolves. If they don't hang a wolf, they do have someone who has the power to tell them it was or was not a wolf. Also, there's some other sets of rules where if you disobey the rules of the game, you will be killed by a mysterious force. So far, 2 people were killed by a mysterious force, and 1 person was killed, assumably by a werewolf, as the game started. They chose not to choose a werewolf for the first night. The next night, a person died to the wolf, and another person was killed by corruption. They then chose the person to hang, and that person said, all right, fine, but give me a few minutes to get my stuff in order. Somebody went to watch him just in case, and they found both of those people had their bellies cut open with a knife, assumably killed by a person. They don't know if it's the person who was accused of being the wolf who's ready to be hanged, but there is no murder weapon around their body, so no people know. And I'm still up in the air whether this is magical or superstitious, because honestly, at this point, if it turned out to, if it was magical or mundane, I'm kind of in the mundane camp now, because so far we only have the main character who saw a person who looked like a werewolf, but that was in a timeline where we chose to go outside where we were murdered by the werewolf, or maybe that was supposed to be the corruption that killed us. Because my idea is that the corruption is also a wolf, because it's supposed to be 3 werewolves. 2 werewolves are part of the game, so I'm assuming the 3rd werewolf would be the corruption. So we saw something that looked like that, but then we died, and we started the game over with a new timeline where we chose not to do the action that got us killed, and our character keeps remembering the time when he died. However, there was another option that we chose that our main character dies but doesn't remember ever doing. So that makes me either think that the game just hasn't calculated that it should put dialogue in for the route, or that's technically not a canon route, or maybe we're hallucinating the fucking werewolf part, and us going the false route where we died really wasn't what happened. That's just us having a hallucination of us being in a fucking porta potty overnight while mysterious sounds are happening outside. So who knows if our main character is remembering real or not. Also, since people are dying from the, in quotes, corruption, the corruption deaths are supposed to look supernatural. We're like, wow, something really strong must have crushed these people. But we honestly don't know if these were the real people, because they're just assuming from the amount of bones left that were from the gore, or how much force was used to crush a person's body, that it must have been supernatural. So who knows? There might not be a supernatural force that kills people who break the rules. There might just be people who are killing them, because considering everybody in this town is ostracized, maybe the main town members are killing off the people in the ostracized town because they need to put more people there later or something. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I've also theorized that there might have been somebody who was around the last time a purge happened, because apparently nobody in town was around that time, except for possibly the old man they chose to hang, who has gone senile and can't really tell them any information. So the old wolf man might honestly have been there during the last purge and might have prior knowledge. However, he is definitely dead, which might also have been why somebody killed him, because maybe he had some record of helping them, or maybe he had some information that he was going to show them, or who knows what he meant by he said getting his stuff ready, his affairs in order. Somebody should probably check where he used to live. Anyway, so that's where we're at. We've gone through the second night of murders. We're just starting the next day. We will now find who the next person the werewolf killed, or if somebody else also died, bonus by corruption, and we'll continue the story from here. However, my guess is so far that the most satisfying story would probably be if this was mundane. So I'm in the mundane chart, in the mundane category at the moment, and my assumption is, considering we can go back to past choices, either our main character can't see visions of the future, or what choices he made that transpired and he really is hallucinating the whole wolf thing, Or that there's going to be some point where we go back to a different choice, we make a different decision, which still could just be not our character remembering it, but just, because one of the choices is our character deciding not to confront the reason why he left society and went up into the rural Japan. So that might not be him literally remembering something. That could just be him, like, just us learning information about him and then allowing us to make a different choice later just to make narrative difference in the story. But maybe there's a point where our main character makes a different decision and a lot more people survive and aren't dead. Or maybe there's like people who are supposed to be dead who aren't dead. I'm not 100% sure. There's still a lot of room open and a lot of possibilities that could happen, so we'll just have to wait and see. So we're going to pick right back up what I said. I'm pretty sure I saved, right? Yeah, 2304. We're good to go. 5:15, Thursday. I woke up at 5 in the morning. The window was still boarded up, so I couldn't see anything outside. All I could do was sit around and wait. Eventually, I could hear the objects keeping me get removed, and I was greeted by Yasunaga Oribi and Kemi Serizawa. Those two actually survived. I met up with Haru Misakama too. Her face was pale, and she had bags under her eyes. No one here looked healthy anymore, but she was beyond even that point. She'd gone completely meek too. The defiance from yesterday was gone, and she was letting Yasunaga-kun guide her. She lost another friend, after all. We arrived at the dining hall, but found no one there. The door was unlocked. That was a bad sign. It was Kanzo Makishima's place all over again. Bob should be sleeping upstairs. With that knowledge, I opened the door. What if she was attacked? Even if she wasn't, considering her state yesterday, it wasn't unlikely she did something unthinkable, such as suicide. However, I soon found my worries were for nothing. Kaori-san was standing all alone in the dark dining hall, wearing an apron. The fact she wasn't doing anything but standing was just eerie. Oh my, good morning. She turned around and greeted us. Her voice was the only thing calm about her. Her eyes were bloodshot, signs of the malnourishment were all across her face. Her faint, forced smile made her seem on the verge of collapse. She completely failed at acting normal. Her heart was probably swirling with panic and sorrow as great as yesterday. Everyone here could see it. Bob, everyone's hungry. I'll make food so you can just rest. Huh? But I can do it myself. Oh, I'll help. I actually cook for myself, so I know what to do. After they volunteered to support Kaori-san, I thought about what purpose I could serve here. Let's go. And I called to Haru-chan before going outside. She came with me, but wasn't saying a word. During yesterday's feast, she had a fight with Kaori-san. The woman had voted for Haru-chan due to the change in her attitude and failed escape attempt, and I couldn't blame her for that. Considering her personality, I imagined that the exchange had been extremely intense. That was why getting her out of the dining hall was a good move. Problem was, we didn't really have anything to talk about. This was made worse by the hostility she'd shown me until just recently. According to Mochi, that was product of her affection toward Yasunaga-kun and all the drama surrounding him. Normally, I'd playfully give her a hard time about that kind of thing, but it seemed in poor taste considering the situation. She was staring daggers at me. Maybe I just had to ask her. Haru Makishima-san? What? I'll be frank. Are you a wolf? No! She didn't hesitate at all. Not like that meant anything. You don't believe me? Then Takumi will check. That'll show you. Are you saying that despite knowing? Huh? Knowing what? If he were alive, he'd be the one looking after Kaori-san in the dining hall. Yesterday, he went there first thing in the morning with Kaori-san in her current state. That was all the more reason for him to be there. But now he's missing. No way! That's just... We'll go check to be sure. Lead the way. Okay. Teba, are you awake? Haru knocked on the door and tried to open it. But it was locked, meaning it wasn't touched. Tae-san came out sooner than later. She looked pretty displeased to begin with, but upon seeing me, she displayed outright disgust. What are you doing here? Sorry, Kaori-san isn't well, and we needed more people. Where's Takumi? We're going to check on him.
I see.
A gloomy expression told me she realized what might have happened. She said she had to prepare, so we excused ourselves. Please ask if you need anything.
Oh, yes, of course.
She shut the door on us.
You're nice to all women, aren't you?
What the hell is she saying? Being considerate of elders and women is the gentlemanly thing to do.
Is that how you feel about Cheney?
I like her quite a lot.
Please don't. I feel so bad for Nichan.
Nichan? Yasunaga-kun? Surely. What do you mean by that?
Yoshi-kun and Mochi are gone. Kaori-san and Cheney are all he has left. Also, she's the strongest among us, and she's always protected us from the people of Kamafuji Yoshi and adults. Don't take her away from us.
So that's how it was. I wasn't sure how she actually felt about Kemi, but it was definitely more trust and reliance than I expected. Yasunaga-kun spoke like he'd given up on Kemi, but deep down he was actually glad she had returned. Haru-chan was aware of that, and she actually liked Kemi. That is why she concluded that they should be together. However, it was clear she didn't like giving them her blessing. I understand how you feel. The end result depended on Kemi. She chose, and since she hated Yasumizu, I felt like it wouldn't be something Haru-chan wanted. Then again, I really didn't know what was going on in Kemi's head, neither, and had no idea who'd survive. So making predictions was a waste of time.
For now, everyone should focus on ending the feast.
I don't think we can do much, but if there's something you don't want to tell your own, I'm willing to listen.
Huh? What do you mean?
Nothing much. It just feels like you have a lot to worry about. Personally, I still think that escaping outside is a good idea.
That's not possible.
Huh? Didn't you try it yourself?
But I failed, didn't I? That made me realize we can't escape.
Isn't that because you just happened to hurt your foot? Also, I tried escaping 2 times in a row, and I got the exact same dialogue, no change. Maybe I should have tried more and gotten a change in dialogue, but I didn't really want to keep wasting time last stream. So, my assumption is I was hoping that he would mention he tried to escape last time and what would happen, see if he could remember it this time, but nope, it's just a dead end and they don't tell you anything.
It didn't just happen. Do you believe in God?
Oh, do you believe in God too?
What did you just say?
God?
God doesn't exist. If I doubted that, I just couldn't cope with anything.
There was a weird aura around her for a second, and then she walked away, leaving me no choice but to follow her. We arrived at the houses. The mysterious girl was on the verge of crying. Good morning, what's wrong?
Speak normally. You know how to write?
Come on, be more mature. Repeat after me. Good morning. This was hopeless. Haru-chan glared at her while I stayed patient. Where's Rikako-san?
Oni-chan?
Yeah, where is she?
She hasn't come out. Her house is right here.
It really was. I've been here yesterday. I knocked and called out to her. There's no response. Haru-chan and I looked at each other, and I tried opening the door. Huh, it was locked. Rikako-san! Still no response. I hesitantly put my ear against the door. I heard some sort of rustling sound. She's probably getting dressed.
Then he really did.
We don't know for sure. It could still be Kyonosuke-shi.
What about me?
Well, I did expect him to live.
Is Rikako-san well?
She's all you care about, isn't she? And yeah, she does seem to be alright. She's not yet out, though. I wonder what's up.
I had a bad feeling about something. Good to see it was nothing. Does this mean that the one to die was Lady Yamikawa? Teba was alive. Teba was alive. What?
Why was he so positive? Haru-chan, take Miko to the dining hall. Kyonosuke-san, help me out. He tried to say something, but decided against it. He must have realized what happened to the one who'd usually be giving these annoying jobs. As expected, the door to his house was unlocked, and the reek of fresh blood was so strong you could smell it outside. I thought that was enough to help me prepare, but once I saw the source, I couldn't keep down what few contents my stomach had left. The two from the first day, Kanzo Makishima and Yoshigitsu Oribe, they lost all semblance of form to the point their corpses felt unrealistic. On the other hand, Chikamochi, Kamasada, and the old wolf guy's corpses were far too clean. Their faces were still intact after all. However, Takumi Mura-san's corpse was an even balance between ruined and intact. It was separated out on the floor, surrounded by splashes and splotches of blood, as well as some bloody footprints. Hey Sabes, welcome back. Only started not too long ago, and we're just finally finding out the first death, so good timing. Scattered brain, gray matter, bone fragments, eyes. About 60% of his face was gone. This time, the method was clear. There was a rifle lying right next to his corpse. The weapon was actually on the scene for once, and it was a gun. What did it mean? I wanted to think about that, but I was too shaken by the clear agony Takumi-san's death had brought him. You could see his suffering on the still present half of his face. His hands were on his head, too, as if to cover his face, a reach for the clearly fatal wound. He died while holding onto his shattered brain. Though fatal, the first attack hadn't killed him instantly. He could still move after it, which was a testament to his strength and willpower. Now, lurking is how I literally watch streams too, so don't feel uncomfortable. His life had ended as he suffered overwhelming despair. It was written all too clearly on his death visage. My emotions bubbled over, overwhelmed my thoughts, and I vomited once again. Are you okay? Kinosuke had clearly avoided looking at it himself. Bring me someone who can use guns, please. Come on, Teba. Come on, old lady with the old gun lady. Let's fucking go. I never expected you to come along. Her expression was too stern and serious for me even to say that. Oh, Kemi. Okay.
Takumi-chan, shit!
She cursed and looked at the gun.
This is Kanzoji-chan's rifle.
She grasped its long body and picked it up.
All the 5 bullets were fired. See any empty cartridges?
I'll look around. I found them real quick. They were covered in blood and fresh. But yeah, I found the metallic cylinders. 5 of them. They were 2 meters away from the corpse. Very close to one another. Either the culprit fired from there, or gathered them afterwards.
Look at the handle.
Kemi extended the rifle to me. I did as told. Compared to the rest of the gun, which had blood on every part of the handle, was clean, like it had been wiped. They removed the fingerprints?
Probably.
Kemi then held it, like she was about to shoot, and aimed at Takumi-san's body.
It was fired from here.
How can you tell?
The way the blood splattered. See how it's concentrated around there? It's proof the culprit fired from a low angle. Also, normal rifles can't take such a huge mess unless they're fired from really close. But make it point blank and the stuff were to get on and around the muzzle, the rifle would be even dirtier.
And that was why it was natural to think it had been fired from where she was standing, near the cartridges. Can you actually aim and hit something with this?
As long as you know how to aim, the target isn't moving. That's all you need.
So this was done by someone who knows how to use guns.
By the way, it's just a matter of looking at the bead through the sight. Guns are useful little toys that make murder so easy anyone can do it.
What about loading? Doesn't that seem like something a layman can do, is it?
Good point, but even Teiba-chan has experience firing a gun. Finding the culprit in Yasumizu won't be easy.
This was a settlement where the people went hunting. Basically, everyone here must have touched rifles before. All we could really assume was that Miko-chan couldn't have done this.
And it's not like every bullet hit the head. One grazed the ear, one hit the chest, one hit the shoulder, and look here, a bullet hole.
She pointed a small part of the floor that was ruined. So only one hit the head?
Yeah. I think that one wasn't fatal though. It was probably the one in the chest that ended it.
She looked at the body's pose and made the same conclusion as me. Why do you know so much about guns anyway?
I have a hunting license. I know how to use guns, traps, and nets. I used to do lots of skeet shooting outside of Yasumizu. I'm pretty good with a gun.
Well, damn, didn't expect that.
I can understand why.
Did you plan to return here and become a hunter?
I just wanted to have a gun. That's it.
She said that as it was no big deal. Ah, true American spirit. The tone seemed kind of dangerous. Yeah, so much so that she almost killed someone.
I think it happened in middle school. I grabbed a bat and beat up some students who were bullying at the Yasumizu kids.
It was the impression you'd get from a girl capable of random acts of violence. I was probably jumping to conclusions, though. Can we clean it up now?
If you're fine with it.
Let's do it then.
Did you find out anything?
I'm now 100% certain that these murders were committed by people. The culprit used a gun and wiped off the fingerprints, acts that demonstrated a very human level of cunning. If we were up against something supernatural, they just used their mysterious powers instead. If something mysterious can be explained using mundane means, then it was caused by mundane means. That was a general rule I lived by, proven through both knowledge and first-hand experience. Supernatural powers that required carrying out occult rituals were prime examples of things it applied to. The more detailed the preparation required, the more opportunities to notice something amiss. As the trick relied on concealing the method, it was safe to assume the method was something mundane. Even this death wasn't caused by someone of the supernatural force. The only way that this wouldn't be true is if the wolf wiped off fingerprints just so you didn't see paw pads. Because if you saw that there were paw pads on it, you might be like, ah, shit, okay, definitely not human. Unless you wanted to say the mysterious force used to levitate the gun was around the handle, so that's why. Anyway. It just happened unobserved. We had people who could do it, and the methods that fit. That was the best way to look at it, right?
Maybe you're right.
You agree?
I do think that it was done by people, I know. By actual humans.
But didn't that go against her whole God story? I wanted to ask that, but seeing her eyes made me fall silent. Her eyes were wide and cloudy, and the shine is gone again.
But
her lips went out, clear words.
No one.
I looked away. I probably wanted to cover my ears, too.
Can escape God.
I found her words so irrational, they began to frighten me. I asked Kemi to call Kionosuke and help carry the corpse, but she insisted on doing it herself. I caved and we began the unpleasant task. Following Takumi-san's example, I removed the door and placed his body on it. Kemi and I each took end of the door and lifted it up. He was as heavy as he looked, and I wouldn't have been surprised if this was too much even for two men. However, Kemi lifted her side without letting a single grunt of exertion. It felt like active rejection to the idea she might need help. We slowly began walking. Kionosuke was outside. He was anxious about something. He didn't look like he was waiting for us. So maybe Rikako Yuimatsu hadn't come out yet. I couldn't afford to stop and chat. Relaxing my arms or lower body could lead to me dropping Takumi-san. I kept walking forward without a single word. Sighing and stopping was our sign that one of us needed to rest. Every time one of us did it, we lowered him to the ground, rubbed our aching hands, adjusted our grips, and resumed walking. As we approached the cliffs, Kemi's expression grew darker.
Takumi-chan was the youngest of the adults. He was like an older brother to me.
I wasn't going to ask how that mattered. I didn't see a point in questioning it. I simply nodded, continuing to play the role of audience.
He played with me a lot and always protected me when the other adults got mad at me. There's nothing good about this humid place, but he loved Yasumizu and the people living here.
Yeah, I could tell.
He was honest to a fault.
Yep.
I don't want to just throw him away.
Of course you don't. I don't like this either. Should we stop? The only ones who'd really care about this are Takumi-san himself and Tae-san, right?
No, we gotta do this.
Because of the corruption?
Yeah.
I continued asking if she was sure, but she didn't change her mind, so we ended up throwing his body into the Saranaga. We walked through the graveyard, careful not to trip. We could now see the hanging pine through the mist. Our destination was near. We carefully closed in on the cliff and pushed the door forward.
Bye, Takumi-chan.
She said that right as I felt the body slide off. It was falling. I'd done this several times now, but it still made me feel empty. It would eventually hit the water, making a splash. That'd be it. Huh? Did you hear the water?
Not sure.
Did we both miss it somehow?
Or maybe the bottom of the Saranaga opened into a yawning chasm leading to the Yomi?
You got quite the imagination.
No one knows what's beyond the mists. There could be anything out there.
Should I go down and take a look?
You won't return.
That was how she saw the world. Let's go back. Okay, so maybe something dammed the river, maybe.
or they did miss it, or there's something down there that's full, or you could just have landed on top of the other bodies that never got washed away. But yeah, that's something special, that they didn't actually hear the water this time. So something's changed the river then. We returned to another investigation into Kumi-san's house, but something strange had happened while we were gone. Kinosuke was still in the same spot, in front of Rikaku Yuimatsu's house, waiting for her without even trying to hide his frustration. She still hasn't come out? No. You're the one who said she seemed alright. What made you think that? I heard sounds. Why didn't you call out to her yourself instead of just waiting? As if I could do something so rude. Why, is she the only one you're nice to? Natsuo is above Yuimatsu, isn't it? That was an interesting bit of info. I hadn't realized that the head families had a hierarchy. It's only natural to be considerate of women. I'm a woman too, though. I don't see a reason to be considerate to someone so hostile toward me, do you? Please stop. We're just finished putting a body to rest. That's probably one of the reasons why we were so agitated. But my comment was enough to shut them up. Though, yes, I'm worried too. She might need help if she's sick or injured. We may have no choice but to barge in. How improper. Was he the type of guy to report someone who undressed a girl to give her proper first aid? What was up with this guy's priorities? Yuimatsu-san! Rikako! Yuimatsu-san! I bashed the door almost violently. Heard a sound of rustling clothes. Had she collapsed or something? Yuimatsu-san! I'm opening the door! No answer again. Only sounds. Was it really Rikako Yuimatsu in there? Let's break it down. Kemi nodded, with Kinosuke gave a disgruntled sigh. The door was made from plywood and a wooden frame. A solid impact would break through. I looked around and saw a few aged farming tools laying against some houses. The old wooden hoe and mallet were too rotten to work here, but the old axe looked just right. 1, 2! I lifted the axe and started counting, but had to stop midway. There was a sound of clattering. America's Best Glasses. I actually did go to America's Glasses when I didn't have health insurance. It wasn't actually that expensive for like a quick examination, getting contacts and glasses. So honestly, not the worst. And they had like a 2 for a cheap deal. So I got some like 2 copies of the same frame because I couldn't find any of the frames I liked. So yeah, not the worst advertisement. But yeah, thanks for the continuing the Prime, Stormpike. So far, what's happened is the big guy who outed himself as the snake, he is the one who has died. We have laid his body to rest. And the priestess lady, we are just breaking into her house because we don't know what's going on because she hasn't come out in hours. The door suddenly moved. Surprised, I jumped backwards and glanced at the other two. They were just as shocked, if not frightened. What's that? What do you mean? It has to be Rikaku-san. Yuimatsu-san? There was no response at first, but a few seconds later, the door shook again. A moment later, it fell silent once more. Had she collapsed on the door? If she wasn't well and was lying next to the door, breaking it open was dangerous. I put the axe down and walked to the door again. The moment I approached it, I heard a clicking sound. I didn't even have time to question what had happened before it creaked open. There was a gap of about 20 centimeters. It was pitch black inside. And there was a face all covered in blood. It sunk back into the darkness the very next moment, but it was soon replaced by an inhuman scream and an arm that snaked out and grabbed for my neck. The grip had inhuman strength behind it. It had that gorilla grip. I ignored Kemi and Kinosuke-san's screams and tried to pry myself free. My throat was on the verge of crushing. The groans continued ceaselessly. The nails dug into my neck, and I was being dragged inside. Help! How the hell was she so strong? The arm clearly belonged to Rikaku Yuimatsu, so why? Help me! My words got them out of their stupor, and they ran up to me. As panic and lack of oxygen dimmed my vision, they grabbed, bashed, and tugged at the arm that was holding on to me. Damn it! Hey, let go! Just one finger! I don't know how long it took, but when I was eventually freed, Kemi swiftly slammed the door shut. Bring something I can use to bar the door. Like what? Just shove the axe in it.
Sitting on the ground in shock, I simply stared at their exchange. I could still barely breathe. My vision was hazy, and I couldn't think clearly. Something inside was trying to get the door open and possibly escape. What it was, though, I had no idea. What had happened to Rikako Uematsu?
How about this? Natsuo-san, hold it shut. I'll bring the others and we'll barricade it. Haruki-san, are you alright? Can you stand?
Yeah. Actions were more important than words here. Stealing my resolve, I rose to my feet. We gathered everyone who could still move and sealed off Rikako Uematsu's door and windows with planks, nails, large farming tools, and whatever else we could find. The small house was basically a pile of flimsy barricades now. Everyone was tired from all the work and sat down to rest. Taking a drink. What's the point of doing this, though? Someone asked. We could still hear groans and crashing sounds from the inside. No one answered the question, but we all understand that letting that thing out would be a mistake. But what exactly was it, anyway?
Ayame Bito.
That seemed like an answer. Of some sort, anyway.
What do you mean? Corrupted folk that come from Yomi. You know, don't you? Has to be Ayame Bito, that. That's not what I mean. Yami Bito are the wolves, right? They came back to life because they're a grudge of being killed during the feast. That's not always like that, Haru-chan. Yasumizu has always been menaced by Bito. Or maybe it's the corruption. Yoimatsu-sama might have broken an important law.
That can't be. Protecting the laws is the role of the purifying spider family.
But that might be it. She touched too much of the corruption.
But that's...
She might have come to Yasumizu to keep at least a bit of the Yomi's corruption away. How many Yomi Bito will we have now? Takumi was a good boy. Maybe it was a good thing he died before seeing hell. The thing I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Thus I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty, so peace may come to pass.
A silent prayer. Her eyes were teary and her shoulders were shaking. Wait, then Rikako-san is...
Yomi Bito must be hanged.
That didn't sit right with me. The rule was that breaking the laws meant getting the corruption, and getting the corruption meant being slaughtered, right? It was the first time I'd heard that it was possible to do something about the corruption and that she'd die because of that. Logic had little ground here, so the people were gladly losing their minds, or gradually losing their minds. They were being pushed closer to death. It was like this was a supernatural phenomena. I think Kaori-san's the villain now. I mean, I guess Kaori-san could easily be a wolf. If you're trying to think that, oh, well, she's just upset because she lost her son, well, she could also just be upset because she's the one who had to kill him.
Is anyone hungry? I've already calmed down, so we can do the rest after you have calmed down as well.
It was a very attractive suggestion. As we all turned away and returned to the dining hall, I felt like Rikako Uematsu-san let out a groan even more inhumanly loud than any of those before. Yeah, something about this is definitely weird. This is something that kind of breaks the other ones. Because normally, like he said, people die from corruption, but this person's gone fucking insane. And you don't even know if it really is Yukaku. You just said it was a blood-stained face and a grab. This could be something completely fucking different. Once we arrived, the place was dominated by heavy silence. There were sounds coming from the kitchen, a kitchen knife rhythmically hitting the cutting board as Kaori-san prepared the food. Tei-san was seated away from everyone, desperately yet fluently chatting a sultra. Combined with the kitchen sounds, it was a mind-numbing effect. Also, Kemi has been stopping us from eating food here. I wonder if she's going to continue that, or if we're going to continue that. Everyone else was simply falling into a torpor, staring silently into space. Even I, the sanest person in the room, wanted to simply let my mind shut down and stop thinking. That wouldn't stop me from trying, though. Rather than trying to evaluate the details, I decided to return to square one and summarize the current situation. Takumi-san was dead. That left me, Kemi, the two Orobes, Kiyonosuke-shi, Tei Yamakawa-shi, Miku, Rikaku, Uematsu, and Haru Makishima. a total of 9. And Rikako Uematsu, I didn't want to say she'd become a Yamabito or something, but it was clear that she was in a condition that left her functionally useless. Normally, the right thing to do here would be to take her to a hospital, but instead they were going to discuss killing her. I'd probably have to remind them of the sound course of action. Yeah, because if you choose her as your hanging target, if she's not a wolf, you're wasting your hanging. Whatever the case, if you ignored Rikako Uematsu and I, only 7 people were participating in the feast. With Takumi-san's death, we would never know what the snake found out about Haru Makishima. Therefore, the only confirmed people were Kinosuke, a human, and Miko, a monkey. And personally, I thought I could trust Kemi, so that made 3. That left 4 others. This was bad. I wondered if Kemi understood that. I had to talk to her in private.
Ma, where is Oni-chan?
We kept Miko away from all that happened this morning, so she was still in the dark about Rikako-san. She's not feeling too good. Leave her in peace.
Okay. Hey, can I go outside?
Isn't it dangerous?
I'll look after her. She'll be safe if she stays close.
The 2 left.
Yasunaga.
What? There's something I want you to fetch. I'm going to use the bathroom. More and more people left. They probably didn't feel comfortable standing up until now. Tae-san just continued chanting, as though it was like she'd lived in another world. Besides her, all that was left was Haru-chan. The way she constantly shifted in her seat made it clear she felt uncomfortable. Sorry about Takumi-san. I tried talking to her.
Yeah, Chain-A always relied on him.
What about Rikako Uematsu-san?
I didn't like her. She creeped me out.
Kemi-chan seemed fine with her, though.
That's cause she's strong.
Then did Uematsu-san arrive here?
2 or 3 years ago. Not recently, at least.
That seemed like plenty of time to get to know a person, if you ask me. Or maybe not. Yasumizu's people had been suffering at the hands of the village heads for generations. Of course they couldn't just accept her. I hear she's one of the village heads, but what kind of family are the Uematsu anyway?
What do you want to know? How many times do we have to tell you that you're an outsider and should just stay out of all of this?
Oh, sorry. That's insensitive of me. Let's talk about something else then, alright?
Fine.
I looked around and saw Yasunaga-kun walk upstairs. I lowered my voice and asked, "What was Mochi to you?"
Why are you asking?
To make up for his lack of funeral.
Huh?
In funerals, you talk about the people who passed away, right? I remember hearing that gives their souls peace.
This is unexpected.
What is?
I thought you were cold and heartless. I didn't think I'd hear something about peace in the afterlife from you.
That was just rude.
Mochi was a Nasato, but he never acted like he was better than anyone else. He was weird and as much as a troublemaker as Chain-A, but he never hurt anyone. Everyone said he wasn't right in the head, but I didn't think so. He was really funny. I think he would have been really popular if he appeared on TV. He was 1 year older than me, but he treated me like someone of his own age. I always had tons of fun with him. He got along really well with Ni-chan too.
He did?
Yeah, they were always together and they were like a pair of heroes in school. They got along so well that I sometimes felt lonely with them.
Her visage dimmed. I felt like she was easier to understand than most. If Mochi had really liked her, it must have been a tough love. She hadn't even looked at him like that regard, but being with Yasunaga-kun had made him a target of her jealousy. But he's gone now. Yasunaga-kun must feel terrible.
Yeah.
Why not help him out? Yasunaga-kun was going to the stairs again. I gestured at him with my chin.
Huh?
He's doing something for his mom, and Kemi-chan's inside. I don't think you can replace Mochi, and Kemi-chan probably is the best person for the job. But even if they are the ones who will make the final decision, there's no reason to hold yourself back in the meantime, right? You want to help him too, don't you?
Yeah. You too?
Well, Kemi gave me more than just a meal and a place to stay. I won't say I don't have any ulterior motives, but more than that, I just want to support her. She seems to be suffering at the hands of this thing I can't even comprehend.
Yeah, I think I misunderstood you.
I can't blame you. Are you going?
Yeah, I still need to apologize for yesterday.
Then I'll go outside too. We stood up at the same time. Though Haru-chan was always on edge, deep inside, she was a really honest girl. I worried that she might fall victim to some scumbag like me down the road.
Oh.
What?
Maybe you should really run away. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
She cut herself short and hurried upstairs. Apparently, I gained some of her trust, but it didn't look like I could get anything more useful than that bit of advice. Unlike the other inhabitants, she just believed that escape was possible. That's why she tried to do it yesterday. That might have been the extent of it.
So, who do you suspect?
Haru-chan and Yasunaga-kun. I walked up to Kemi, who was looking after Miko, and we started a conversation.
I can understand Haru-chan, but Yasukan?
We have 4 suspects, Tae-san, Kaori-san, and them. He was the only one out of those who was outside when Mochi died yesterday. And considering how cunning the wolves are, I can't imagine it being anyone but him.
He's that devious?
Yeah.
Really?
Why did Kusumi-san die today?
Huh? What do you mean? He was obviously killed by the wolves.
That's not what I'm asking.
Huh? Do you mean? I think I get it. Because the spider didn't protect him.
Right. The spider's probably already dead. Hey, I got a Stream Boot advertisement where they still haven't fucking removed the space from the thing that says remove the space. I can't believe whoever's bot this is hasn't just fixed that yet. Anyway. Right, the spider's probably already dead.
Huh? Wait.
When you think about it, on the first day, Takumi-san was protected by the spider. And yesterday, no one actually said that the spider should protect someone else, right?
Yeah.
That means the spider once again protected Takumi-san. He's way too valuable, at least that's what should have happened if the spider was still alive. And now yourself, artificial devil. But no, we support our bots here. And we tend to ban them unless the bot gives 10 subs. Then then it's not a bot, obviously. That means a lot of spider ones can.
Well, that's true.
Since the feast started, the ones who died before Takumi-san were Kanzo-san, Yoshigitsu-kun, Mochi, and the old man who cried wolf. One of these 4 was the spider. The wolves realized this, killed him, and went for Takumi-san.
That's the only logical.
That's the only logical explanation.
Huh? Aren't you overthinking it? What if they just assumed the spider was gone because 4 people died?
That's the optimistic take. But if we're actually dealing with someone clever, underestimating them would be a fatal mistake.
But how'd they find out who the spider is?
You're too loud. It's nothing, Miko-chan. She resumed scribbling on the ground. She was completely absorbed in it, for some reason. I think it's likely the wolves guessed who was the spider.
But how?
You told me that on the first day, Kanzo-san let Yasunaga-kun talk for most of the feast, and only made the final decision, right? He looked like a more proactive type to me. I doubt he'd agree to not hang anyone on the first day.
Well, that's true, but what about it?
If he'd spoken up and taken the initiative, he could have easily controlled the situation, and most of his decisions would have been good calls. That was why he was such a good target for the wolves. That's what we thought, right?
That's true, but we also thought the same about Yasukun.
On the other hand, if you're a wolf, you have no choice of becoming a target for the wolves. It's more dangerous for them to not say anything important and look suspicious. Giving away harmless info, for one, is way better. That's the clever thing to do, don't you think?
But how's that related to Kanzo Ji-chan keeping his silence?
Well, this is all just speculation, but I think he kept quiet to avoid calling attention to himself so the wolves wouldn't target him. Why would he do that? Because he felt that his survival was intrinsically linked to that of others. Because he had a guardian? Yep, and it probably was the spider.
Why are you so confident?
The spider is the most vulnerable participant in the feast. After all, the one person they can't protect is themselves. But as long as his identity was hidden, he had the possibility of making the wolves waste the night. That was probably why he tried not to stand out, but it worked against him and attracted the wolves' attention. He, of all people, is quiet. He must have had an amazing guardian and all that. That led to the wolves taking him out on the first day, and then talking to Takumi-san, now defenseless, on the second.
I know that's just speculation, but I kind of feel like you're right.
Even if that was planned by the enemies, it's best to assume that the anomalies too have all been Okay, so that is not 100% correct, because when he says that, he's assuming that the old man was killed for this new reason. He originally assumed it because he was the head of the village, that's why they killed him first. Now he's making another assumption. But what we're not mentioning, the fact is that we lost 3 other people in the same day. We lost the guy who was killed by corruption, and then we lost the old wolf man and Mochi, who were seemingly murdered by something else or murder-suicided. So, like, those 3 people who could have easily been the spider. Like, you just made some shit up and were like, oh, well, it has to be the old guy. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of just off with that one. What do you mean? Too many people died outside the rules. Yoshigitsu-kun, Mochi, or okay, he's probably saying it right now at least, Mochi the old wolf man, and Rikako Yurimatsu. She's effectively dead now. To the wolves, unplanned deaths are a good thing. The less feasts they have to survive, the lower the chance they'll be hanged. Then, what if they planned for those people to die? I see your point, but how could they pull it off? You could tell Yoshigitsu-kun to walk around outside at night, basically sending him to the corruption. I don't know the motive behind Mochi and the wolf guy's deaths, but it makes sense that they were killed by Rikako. Really? Would it? Would it though? Like the only thoughts that I could say would be that. What was I just thinking? Shit. I was just thinking something and now I completely forgot. I mean, so it's not he might not have he possibly could not have been the monkey, because he said he was a monkey and he called out the little girl. The little girl just said she had a mark of a monkey. Like, who knows if that was an actual her being the monkey. Another one of the monkeys could have already just been dead, and Mochi goes, "Oh, I'm a monkey." And maybe the little girl is a monkey, but Mochi wasn't. He just knew she was, and the other monkey's already fucking dead. Or maybe the other monkey decided not to open their mouth and mention that somebody was lying, so they would know that something is going on. Who knows? Because that was like the thing. The old man and the little kid don't really speak that much, so you can't really get a definitive answer out of them. So those are 2 options if you claim that they were a monkey or if they had a guardian. You truly, technically have no idea. I mean, that's possible, but once again, this is a visual novel. Who the fuck knows? People could literally just be making shit up just because they don't want to give away something. Because who knows how the writer of this VN wanted to do this. I'm still assuming there's going to be either we're going to go back to something very early on, and we're going to have a huge swinging chain of events where different people die in different orders. That's my guess. And then we're going to have to use each of those to truly decide who has what abilities. Because I don't know how long this is, but if this is like some VNs where they're like hundreds of like 100-hour long, this definitely could have like multiple paths where we have to piece together each different route to actually find out the truth of who has what and who the wolves are. But anyway. What? Tei-san talked about Yurimatsu's role and thought she fell to the corruption because of it. But there's a more reasonable explanation. Or I could just be completely overthinking how far this VN's gonna go with this, and it could be just like, nah, we went really simple on this one. If she killed the 2, then she'd have broken the feast rule of 1 person per day and become a target of the corruption. I put aside the idea that there were apparently 2 types of corruption, slaughter and madness. Around 40 hours? Okay. It's definitely gonna be longer since I'm reading everything. But how? Did you see the clothes she wears? She wouldn't have the time to change. And there's no way she could have won against 2 men, right? How about this? Mochi, or the wolf guy, killed the other, and the one who survived was killed by her. She became the target of the corruption for drawing the blood of a second person in 1 day. I don't know about her clothes, but I could be sold by a large apron or something. We can't say it's impossible until we verify it. But even a single guy sounded like too much for her. One of them was senile, though. Or maybe they were weakened from trying to kill the other. Kill? How can you think something like that? Again, it's all just speculation. I don't even know the motive, but it does make sense. So my original guess at the very beginning of this was that Kemi and the old lady are the wolves. So I'm just keeping that with. I had like no information at all at that point. So that I'm just keeping that in my thing. So far, they're not dead yet. So that's still, you know. I'm still taking that as like a yeah.
How about that related to the wolves' conspiracy?
I don't know the motive they here either. But if they knew her weakness or something, they could have goaded her into killing them. Or maybe she was a wolf herself. Kemi was at a loss for words. I had no choice but to continue myself. She could have hastened the whole process to give the other wolf an advantage.
I really doubt that getting themselves killed would be a really bad idea for the wolves.
True, considering the number of wolves and humans. Losing one wolf to take out 2 humans isn't a good deal. But there was no guarantee that everyone would realize that. Not everyone acts logically. There's a lot of illogical stuff going on, and predicting their effects is impossible.
No, I don't want to hear that.
But you can't give up, can you?
I don't want to think anymore.
Sorry, I said too much.
Don't worry, I'm the one who should be sorry. But yeah, that's a bit hard for me.
I really don't think you people need to keep playing along with this. I'll help you escape if you want.
We can't. I just know that if you're born here, you're fated to die here.
That's just a baseless delusion.
Someone who can't see God would never understand.
Yeah, I won't. No trouble. It really was troubling. If this was some tabletop, fun for the whole family game, Lamau, alright, yeah, right through that fourth wall, I'd have already punched the GM and left. Hey, GM abuse is not good. Do you know how few DMs or GMs there actually are for tabletop games? You leave us alone, alright? When I make rocks fall and kill your entire characters, or make you fight a final boss who just keeps somehow making his concentration save because, well, you know, it happens. You shut up and like it. But lives are actually on the line here. Not just my own, but also that of someone I kind of liked. We made it this far, yet she was uncooperative. Maybe. Maybe I was going about this all wrong. Maybe if I wanted to save her life, I had to start by saving her from the darkness within. Or maybe from the unidentified supernatural phenomena that was biting her? Though, it didn't seem like something that could be done in just 3 or 4 days. Still, I'd struggle until the very end. I couldn't participate in the feast myself, so I had no choice but to leave it to Kemi. I didn't say anything more to her. I just chose to believe she'd overcome her inner conflict soon. Meanwhile, Miko's drawing had grown so large I felt like she would get lost in the mist. Hey! I left Kemi and went to Miko.
Ma?
She waved at me. Good thing she was kind of used to me now. What are you drawing?
Those are guardians.
Guardians? The drawing showed a warped circle with a line, just as strange going through it. But what I could see what it was, it looked much like the Higuruchi family crest I saw at the dining hall. It's like, all right, guys, we got to end this. Yeah, the house you're in, yep, you're getting murdered by it. Have fun. Well, we have to leave. We have to finish the one shot. Ah, shit, I didn't plan this. And the doors open up, and they have fangs inside, and all the carpets start wrapping you up like tongues, and they kick you out of the house. All right, the end. Session over. There were 4 of them. Apparently, the others were hard to differentiate. I almost said defenestrate. Like, that's not the word. Oh, that whirling drawing was the same as the one on stone. The symbol of the Yomatsu Okami. I see. Shinai-sama's guardians. Did Oni-chan teach them to you?
Yeah.
What about these? They're not guardians, are they?
They're cattle.
I certainly wasn't expecting to hear such a vivid word from a girl about 4 years old. Animals, huh?
Yeah, this is a cow. This is a donkey.
Oh.
This is a pig.
Ah. The ground wasn't the best canvas. The little girl wasn't the best artist. All I could really tell was that they all had 4 legs. And this is?
Me.
It had 4 legs, though. Well, whatever. And this? It's bigger than the others.
A wolf.
A light chill went down my spine. Huh? Why a wolf?
Because the wolf is coming. She's infected by the old man. That'd be funny. The old man just flows from person to person. He's not an actual human being. He's the spirit that possesses one person in town. The wolf is coming.
Huh? The wolf is coming. That was like...
Inside all of us are two old men. Both fighting for dominance.
That was like...
Because the wolf is coming, I had to run far, far away.
Hold on, Miko-chan. You know the wolf?
I haven't met him, but I know he's scary.
Is this the same wolf as we have here?
Bah?
Where's the snake and monkey?
I don't know.
What does the wolf do?
Eat the cattle.
Eat.
Yeah, they said the horse was eaten.
Okay, so that's Takumi probably. Apparently, this had nothing to do with Fujiyoshi's legend. I had no idea if this was from a picture book or her imagination, but there were barely any links between the stories. Or maybe I was rushing to conclusions. Who told you the story?
It really happened.
Where, then?
Far away.
Far away, huh?
I've been walking for so long.
Well, it didn't look like I could get any details from her. If far away referred to the land of myth, and it was actually had truths regarding Fujiyoshi's legend that weren't told here. What the hell was I thinking? Land of myth? How stupid. I should just calm down and file in under more info that made no sense to me. I see. It must have been hard. Okay, so there's they did a VN before this, and she's the main character, and okay. Huh. So this one, she's just the younger version. So I assume this will be her trauma that from the first game that she lived through. Interesting. Huh.
I'm hungry.
Same here. Let's go back.
Okay.
As we turned around, I saw Kemi stand up in the mist again and hesitantly beckon us. Looks like the food's ready. Kinosuke was standing at the entrance of the dining hall, wearing a gloomy expression. He was never particularly vigorous, but now his visage was haggard, and he wasn't nearly as arrogant as before. I couldn't blame him. The only person he was friendly, flirtatious to was Rikaku Yumatsu, was in an awful state. Okay, because they had no idea they were making this game, so she doesn't... Okay, that makes sense. Also, despite all he said, he'd actually relied on Takumi-san that seemed to be close in terms of age too. And from what I've heard, he never really said anything wrong. The only problem was his insensitive choice of words. The feast was a communication game. Even if you were right about something, it didn't matter much if you couldn't convince anyone. Thank you very much. Still, he was one of the mere two confirmed humans. Treating him badly and making him upset wouldn't help at all. I had to be cautious. Let's go.
Yeah. Hungry, aren't we, Miko-chan?
Kemi had come down a bit. I'd already told her my suspicions. I now had to hope she'd handled the feast well. All that was left now was to get some nutrients and spend my hard-working brain, right? Yeah, except are you going to actually eat the town's food, or are you going to have the ramen again?
I'm sorry, I couldn't prepare anything better.
She ladled out what appeared to be rice gruel from a large pot. It was a thick white soup with vegetables, rice, and something brown inside.
Game meat, is it fermented? Yes, the fresh meat was spoiled.
Kemi-san, I whispered to her. What do we do?
What do you want to do?
We were talking about the thing where I had to avoid the local food. You know what? I'll stick to my diet until the end this time.
Okay, thanks.
What do you mean this time?
What did I mean by... Okay, so there's a split path we hadn't taken yet. Okay, so there's definitely... Because so far we've only seen 3 split paths. There was one path at the very beginning where we remembered why we left. There's a split path when she asks us why she saved us. And then there's the split path where we either die in the outhouse or don't leave the outhouse.
And then there's a split path that doesn't have any keys associated to it. It's just die in the mist or don't die in the mist. So far there's only 2 other breakpoints we haven't visited, so there's got to be more. So unless we're remembering a different timeline or we're just remembering a good end at some point, who the fuck knows? At least he does. Like, one thing that I don't know if I like or dislike is the fact that our character just mentioned stick to my diet this time. Because either that would have been a thing for the reader to read and go, what does that mean? But the main character is now instantly talking about it. So it's not like it's like a hidden thing. They directly want to bring this to your attention. I guess they were just afraid you might miss it. It was fine. It wasn't like I was cool with dying, just on the off chance I got a second shot. Dying wasn't an acceptable option. I wasn't about to compromise on that. There's no point in walking around, so I'll just wait here. Alright. You're not going to eat? I have a bunch of allergies.
It's because you youngins don't eat proper. You won't become strong if you don't have a balanced diet.
Hey, I was lying, but telling actual allergy sufferers that they should just eat and they'd be cured was actual murder. Well, there were some efforts to cure allergies by carefully injecting the allergens via vaccine, but that was a subject for the doctor. Anyway, going back to the dorm by myself was dangerous, since they'd suspect me, so I just waited in the corner room, still hungry. Where are Yasunaga-kun and Haru-chan? Still upstairs? Don't mind them. Your food will get cold. More. I'll go call them. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's him remembering a split, but it's not a split that we've been allowed to choose yet. So it's kind of weird on that one, because it's not like there's a split that I didn't choose that I was allowed to, that I didn't have a key for. Because as far as I know, the game has not told me I have any other keys yet. So I can't even go back to old saves unless I randomly got some and the game just isn't telling me, and I would have to load up a new choice right now and figure it out. I went upstairs and then I reached the second floor. I stopped for a moment. I heard some rustling. Was it possible they'd gotten in that intimate in just a few minutes? Was I about to ruin the mood? Well, food was important too. I said, to get their attention and slowly went up, making sure I was loud enough for them to hear me coming. It's lunchtime. Oh, that's Naga-kun. Nah, hello. The room was full of stuff. It was a huge mess. You looking for something? No luck, huh? Yes, I was told there was a new apron in the attic, but we couldn't find it there, so we were checking other places too. So that was it. Did you say? Huh? Could you not tell Ladywood about this? Well, I did come up carefully, but it's not like I saw anything. I shouldn't have. Were you going at it? What are you saying? I'm kidding. You wouldn't know what to do with something like that at a time like this. Well, of course we wouldn't. Yeah. Really now? I was kind of worried. Anyway, why not take a break and get some food? They didn't argue as we prepared to go back. There was a loud noise from downstairs. What? Yasunaga-kun and I looked at each other, and we ran out of the room without saying a word. We were met with a strange scene. I instantly realized what happened and who was responsible. Kinosuke Shi was wearing a furious expression, his shoulders shaking. There was a shattered plate of rice gruel at his feet. The contents were still steaming. He was facing Kaori Obri-san, who was standing completely still. Did he throw his food on the floor? Was it that bad? No way. This was clearly something way bigger than that. What's gotten into you? Cammy and the others didn't seem to understand either. They shifted uneasily. Honey. What? Wolfsbane, the plant. There's There's Arcanite in the food. What? Miko-chan, did you eat any? Not yet. What about the rest of you? Hold on. I'm so lost. Is that true? Look at these leaves. They shine. The other side isn't white, and the tip is pointy. They smell different too. This isn't muttwort or windflower. You're right. It's wolfsbane. You use wild plants, Bob? Yes. That was close. What a mistake. Yeah, she's trying to kill everyone. Somebody almost got poisoned. She wants to kill us. Huh? Wait. It was just a mistake. That's it. Don't be so cruel. Haruchan stopped talking when she realized the suspect was acting strange. Kaori-san was standing right at Kirinosuke-shi, not moving an inch and smiling. She was completely glaring him down. Yes. That response was so delayed, we had no idea what it was for. When Kirinosuke-shi backed away a bit, his expression shifted from rage to fear. I mean, one of my other ideas was that Kaori could be a wolf, and her gambit was, I was forced to kill my own son. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I'll just poison everybody here, and then who gives a flying fuck? Who gives a flying fuck if the corruption comes to kill me, or if she eats a bull herself, and is like, alright, well, now we're all fucking dead. Screw this game. I'm out. When Kirinosuke-shi backed away a bit, his expression shifted from rage to fear. Mom?
You should all die!
And she stood there wailing madly. She brandished a knife. She was hardly moving quickly, but the sight of the blade had stunted our reflexes. I'd seen some bizarre corpses here. I'd bore witness to what was pure malice could do. But still having blatant malevolence, killing intent, was intense enough to paralyze everyone present. I barely registered the scene unfolding before me. Staggering a bit, the woman paused at the counter. The sharp knife was so green with something, likely shavings of aconite. She raised her voice and aimed her poisoned weapon at the nearest target, Kirinosuke-san. Hey, we finally got a new choice. Alright, cool. Alright, my assumption is find a nearby weapon means the one guy is probably going to die. Tackling her probably means that we get killed. So let's go for the route that I think will get me killed. I don't know why I moved when I did. I was a man of words, not impulse. In times of crisis, I was the type to turn tail and run after making some sort of parting threat. I shouldn't have been on good enough terms with either Kirinosuke-shi or Kaori-san to risk. Oh, there's the other reason why she also had the kids looking for an apron that didn't exist. She just didn't want to kill the other kids. Okay. I shouldn't have been good enough terms with either Kirinosuke-shi or Kaori-san to risk my life for them. Yet, when I came to my senses, my body was dancing, charging straight for Kaori-san with my right shoulder. And after a brief struggle, we collapsed. I heard a lot of the strained cackle in my ears. I had to change my posture. Unless I pinned her knife hand down, But in the end, it turned out I really wasn't cut out for the job. These roundabout those were just delaying the inevitable. When the madly laughing woman embraced me, my thoughts ground to a complete halt. She stabbed me right in the back. Simple as that. To her, I was just another obstacle that had to be removed. I didn't know if the wound itself was fatal, but I could tell the blade had sunken incredibly deep, and that it was coated in leaf green poison. It must have been either a near instant death. My mind quickly grew hazy, yet my final moments were those of self-reflection. Reckless actions really aren't my forte after all. Game over. Watch it corner, sure.
Hey, you've done it now, eh, Chief? This was a real bust. I'll give you the hint right away. Bad ending 5, a poisoned death for a reckless amateur. Look, Haruki Fusashi isn't some kind of martial artist, shonen protagonist, okay? Besides, even if he did dabble in it a bit, his first instinct would be to run away from someone armed. He'd be fully aware how scary... I mean, there's only two options. I know what the other choice is, you know? A lot of martial arts, anime, and manga tend to treat them lightly, but in reality, weapons are far more dangerous than your fists. If you charged in on that logic, then you deserve to die. Hell, the killer this time even had instantly lethal poison on their side. So, running away is your best bet in this case. However, if that's not an option, at least find a weapon with a longer reach for the would-be killer. So yeah, don't bring a fist to a knife fight. Go back to 3, Yomi, Q, stop poisoning to pick the other choice. Okay, that's enough this time. Die a bloodier death next time. Yes, it was just a dream, right? Do better next time.
All right, is it going to load me right back at the choice, or is it going to start the whole fucking day over? Oh, no, it's starting the whole thing over. Okay. Yeah, Umi. Do 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 do. She's moving quickly. The sight of the blood, yeah. Because I just wanted to do all the different deaths to see if my character remembers things from the deaths. Because the deaths aren't fail states. I just see them as more ways to get more information. So that's why I keep choosing what I think is going to kill me. Because even if there's like even if there was an achievement for not choosing a death route, like what do I care? Okay. Although, like I did with the missed choice, I wish I could choose a different. I wish I could choose the same option multiple times and get different dialogue of remembering about it. I mean, the thing putting you to sleep is, of course, it's all symbolism. And since everyone else is cattle, he didn't. When the girl drew that image, she didn't mention there being another sheep. So you know, maybe that's what we are. I assume that's what we are. We're some kind of like weird thing for that. Anyway, unless it's telling us that it's a dream, it's all been a dream. I mean, I could give the sheep a demonic deep voice. I haven't really listened to the VA that the voice actor that the game gave. Because I figured choosing the death ones would also give me more information. Like the first one where you chose to go out and see the wolf, and now you keep referencing that in your brain. Unless there's a choice where you have to start the whole game over, not take the wolf choice, where you never saw it, and take the right course of action, and now that just colors what you think. But who knows? But I honestly, I think I might be overthinking how ambitious this game is. I keep thinking about having like a bunch of different alternate paths or different fun tricks and this and that, but if it's only actually 40 hours reading it, not out loud, then it's probably way simpler than I'm making it. I had no idea when my body began to move. I grabbed the nearest chair without even thinking about it. It was old, wooden, and heavy. Picking it up made me lose my balance for a bit. I pointed its legs at the would-be murderer and dashed forward as fast as I could. A crash. A cry of pain, a scream. Amidst the cacophony, I attempted to keep Kaori-san down. I pressed the edge of the chair against her knife arm. She cried out in pain, and the blade clattered to the floor. Kemi then quickly kicked it away. In hindsight, it all happened in a mere matter of seconds. In fact, tying her up was harder. What was more, foaming at the mouth was struggling. Because, like, if everything I'm saying ends up just not being how this VN tends to handle it, then it's because I played a game series that was called 999 and it had 2 other games in it where there were like tons of different branching variations. So that's why I keep thinking there's going to be more than just one. But could be wrong. In the end, we bound her limbs and gagged her to silence her bloodthirsty screams. Zero escape. Yep, that's what it's called. With that done, I had no choice but to face reality. I know I'm probably not the best person to ask, but why do you even do this? 6 of us stood in the mist right outside the dining hall. Kaori-san was locked inside.
She'd also become a Yamabito.
No, that can't be. She's not feeling well. I guess she was really pushing herself. Of course she was. Do you have any idea how important Yoshigitsu was to her? He was foolish, short-tempered, and annoying, but... No, that's exactly why she dreaded him so much. She often said that he was as reckless as his father. I'll take responsibility and calm her down myself. Please forgive her for that.
We should decide this at the feast. Please wait. This is a personal outburst that was nothing to do with the feast. Keep her out of it. How can you be so certain? She might have succumbed to the corruption. Asato-san? Everything in the midst has been decided at the feast. Breaking that law risks failing victim to the corruption.
That's true.
Very well, let's go. No, Yasunaga-kun. She'll be killed. I won't let that happen. Fusashi-san, please look after her. You're not going to lock me up again? No one replied. Apparently, it didn't matter anymore. 999, VLR, and ZTD. Yeah, those are the three. Some of them are kind of some of them have, like, those games, like I said, have tons of different branching paths. Some of them are kind of neat. Some of them are kind of annoying because of the way the story works. I think VLR was a cliffhanger, or was it ZTD that was a cliffhanger and they just never came out with another game? I'm kind of mixing up the two at this point. I think it might have been VLR that just didn't have a real ending. 999 was a full game, that I remember. Ice 9. But what about the mummy? No one replied. Apparently, it didn't matter anymore. Kemi-chan. She was making the same face as she did whenever she talked about God. I knew this would happen. Strangely enough, there was emotion in her eyes. I could see 90% resignation and 10% fear. Watching me until she finally passed out of sight, she followed the others towards the hall. Where's the snake?
Can't we just skip that part?
The cleansing is important. Here you go, Natsuo-sama.
Oh, sorry, where's the sake? The snake. Thank you. God, that hits the spot.
You too, Chi-chan. Natsu-kun. You just take a lick. What about Oni-chan? Yuimatsu-sama can't be here anymore. But
I'll look after this girl.
what's the point?
JD, get a grip.
Then let's begin. I vote to hang Madame Oribe. For what reason? She's dangerous.
In that case, I vote for Ikako Yuimatsu-san for the same reason.
What about the rest? This is a temporary voting for now. Say what you think.
I think we should hang both. Doesn't really matter what order.
I can't think straight right now. We should hang Rikako Yuimatsu. We can at least talk to Kaori-san, but Rikako Yuimatsu is a mad beast.
What about you, child?
They're eating Oni-chan?
What's that supposed to mean? Listen, if you want to protect Rikako-san, then voting to hang Kaori Oribe.
Bah?
You won't understand. 3 didn't vote, and 3 who did are in favor of hanging Yuimatsu-san as decided. However, ZTD... Was ZTD the one with Carlos? Because, I mean, come on. Carlos, man. But yeah, some of the... like you said, the 999, the Zero Escape series did have some kind of, like, really annoying, like, just not answers at the end to a lot of stuff, with cliffhangers and all that. It did kind of suck the end. That's why I think the first one's the best one, just because it finishes off its story. But who knows? Maybe they'll make more. Although, I guess that was a DS series. Was it a DS series? I played it on emulator, so. You won't understand. 3 didn't vote, and 3 who did are in favor of hanging Yuimatsu-san. It's decided.
This is absurd. Is this how you repay her for moving here and working so hard on our behalf?
You'll be out, will you? My mom is just a bit out right now. We may still be able to reason with her. However, Yuimatsu-san is basically a mindless animal. She doesn't even have the capacity to vote on things. Unlike Bob, she's a Yamabito now. Even if we hang my mom today, what will we do tomorrow? Do you have a way of fixing Yuimatsu-san? Looks like it's decided.
Simplistic. I know you're biased because of Madame Oribe being a relative, but you don't see the big picture.
What?
Think about it. Our top priority is to kill the wolves. That comes before all else. Yamabito aren't wolves, are they? That basically proves that Rikako-san isn't a wolf.
What do you mean?
Remember the legend. The wolves are Yamabito Okami, beings already corrupted by the Yomi. Do you really believe that they can become Yamabito as well? Yamikawa-san, what is your opinion?
That might be true.
Here's a hypothesis. Powerful corruption slaughters you like it did those journalists and your brother. However, weaker levels of corruption cause madness. Mad guardians are wolves, while mad humans are Yamabito. That means that a corruption's punishment can only be slaughter for wolves, and either slaughter for Yamabito or transformation for humans.
That's just a convenient solution.
Indeed, I have no way to prove it, but I can make it seem more plausible. If wolves could go mad due to corruption, they would even look like Rikaku-san does. These are beasts disguised as humans. Will they truly look like that if they hadn't gone mad? I think the beasts would show their true selves. Their bestial fury. Is that what happened, Rikaku-san? No.
That might be true. Then maybe we should hang Kaori-san first? Teba!
You're basing your decisions on family tales. We've had actual deaths here. This is ridiculous.
We've had actual deaths here. It's ridiculous.
I'm the one who's ridiculous. To accept the fear to the corruption means to accept the legends. See, I've accepted it. Fearing the corruption while disregarding the legends is truly ridiculous, don't you think?
GAD.
I'm afraid of God. I'm afraid this God who toys with us as we dance on his palm.
What are you saying?
Regardless of... No, because of that. We need to fight back against our fears. For that, we need weapons. Haruki-san?
Huh? Why him?
I vote for you, Yasukun.
What? What? Chene?
I'm not sure I understand you, Serizawa.
Nasato-san, start the proper vote. There's no point in just talking.
Huh? But this was going to happen sooner or later. And if she's truly casting her vote, it's only fair for us to cast ours. But whether I can forgive you or not is another story, Chiane.
I know.
No objections, and let's begin the vote.
Here's what I think. Natsuo-san is half right. We're supposed to search for wolves here. But I'm completely against relying on the legends for evidence. Mochi, the old wolf guy, and Takumi Nichan all died at the hands of people. That's why we should look back over what's happened so far, instead of the legends. How about this? First, who aside from me understood the purpose of the feast? Natsuo-san said it himself. Miko-chan is too young to understand, and Haru-chan... Honestly, I think she's opposite Nasato-san and side with Yasukun, regardless of the situation. Teba-chan would look at the legend, obviously. She's the biggest believer here. What about Yasukun, though? I know it's been hard for him, and with his mom about to be hanged, I can understand why he'd panic. But then, why push for Rikaku-san's hanging? It's easy for us Yuzumizu people to justify hanging the village heads, but you should understand what comes first. Death of the damned Yamabito is the mandate. We should be looking for the immediate threat at hand, the wolves, before worrying about those words. The Yasukun I know would keep a cool head, even in a crisis.
GAD, I understand what you're saying. I just can't forgive him. Whoever you talk, it always makes a mess of things. Takumi, Yasugitsu, and Mochi are dead because of you. And now you want to take my mother? I'm sick of you.
Nei-chan, what's wrong? Come down.
So yeah, I forgot about the purpose of the feast. It was just an act of petty revenge. I used Haru-chan for that. Like you said, it's all there is to be. A pretty boring person. Are you still not satisfied?
Yeah, this is totally out of character for you. Yasukun, I'm probably just looking too deeply into it, but when Kaori-san set the food, only you and Haru-chan were absent. If the others had all been poisoned as planned, you'd be the only survivors. Haruki-san notwithstanding. If you were a wolf, that'd be pretty good for you, right?
Are you suggesting I convinced Bob to poison everyone?
That'd be just the worst. She's probably got the wolf's banes early in the morning. She was too busy otherwise, and it did look like she woke up early.
Okay, I know they've already said that this guy here is nothing because he was looked into by the snake. But if my idea that the snake was lying who he was the entire time, I was going to say, well, the reason why he noticed there was wolfbane inside the stuff is because he's a fucking wolf, so he knows what wolfbane is like. That's the joke I was going to make, which actually would be kind of funny in the end. It'd be like, oh yeah, he was a wolf. Of course he noticed the wolf's bane in it.
By that point, she was already resolved to kill us. It's easy to imagine that someone had given her the idea the previous night.
Also, the reason why she probably didn't kill those two is because they were more kids to her, and she didn't give a shit about the rest. But who the fuck knows?
What? But we can't contact anyone at There are two wolves. What? For the sake of her only living son, Kaori-san was ready to kill everyone, even if it meant being subject to the corruption.
But I'm human!
If you only had the wolves and a lone human at the end, votes would no longer matter. Haru-chan wouldn't be able to do anything.
No way, Nei-chan!
Yasukun.
No, that too. Like I said, she didn't care about the little kid because the little kid's like, who gives a fuck? She doesn't know Miko that much. That's impossible. Also, she might also think that she's a bad omen and part of the game anyway. I mean, if Babu were a wolf, Yoshigitsu-kun wouldn't have died. She could have killed me to spare him, though. You think I could convince her to do that? She never listened. She loved him way more than me. Chie, this is cruel. There's no way he'd say anything like that to his mom. I'm not saying the wolves killed Yoshi-kun. He might have just been out at night and killed by the corruption. Also, even if she wasn't a wolf, she'd help her son even if it meant falling victim to the corruption. It sounds like you're saying whatever you can to make Nichan into a bad guy. What's wrong with you, Chine? You always used to protect us. Was it him? Did Fushiyashi-san tell you to say that? Did he make you change? No, he didn't. I'm just following his example and thinking for myself. Things I don't want to be true could actually be true, and I can't look away from them. And so you decided to vote against me and ruin our friendship? I mean, listen to yourselves. The Yasukan I know would never try to guilt me into submission like that. If you ask me, you're the one who changed. So, who would you vote for? I need to take responsibility for what I said. I suspected Yasukan, and I'm sticking to it. One vote for Yasunaga Oribe. We messed up the order, but in terms of seating order, Deba is first. How will you vote?
I will vote for Kaori-san. I don't think Uematsu-san is a wolf.
What about you, Datsuo-san? So now you're being respectful. My answer doesn't change. In fact, Serizawa's words made me all the more certain. Yasunaga Oribe. In all honesty, your current attitude makes it hard to believe you're a wolf, but it's likely your mother is. One vote for Kaori Oribe. What about you, Yasunaga Oribe? I'm still voting for Rikaku Uematsu-san. I'm voting for Rikaku Uematsu too. The child can be ignored. Wait, Miko-chan, think. Your vote might decide whether the humans win or lose. JD, you'll go that far? You'll trick a child to take your vote? If that's what it takes, I'll do it. Miko-chan, you don't want Rikaku-san to be gone, right? No. Then? It's pointless. Even if she votes for me, it'll just be a three-way tie. I choose who I don't need? Yes. Then I'll go with the lady. She was scary. You mean the woman from the dining hall? Mm-hmm. It's decided then. No! This has to be a sick joke. Bob will die because of something like this? A vote is a vote. Nichan, it's over. I heard muffled screams and sobs from the dining hall behind me. Gagged and tied, Kaori Oribe was still wailing. She couldn't move properly and had a pole fixed to her shoulders, but I was still worried enough to check every now and then. The lack of change helped calm my nerves, but at the same time I resented myself a bit for it. Quite a bit of time had passed since the feast had begun. What kind of decision would they make? The deadly wolf lynching, hanging, had failed every single time so far. Considering the number of days remaining and how many people were left, if they messed up today, the humans would lose all hope of surviving. If either Kaori Oribe or Rikaku Uematsu-san ended up chosen, there would just be no chance anymore. Once I saw people leaving the hall, my mouth moved on its own. It's done then? Their eyes were steady. They walked in my direction. Not to me, though, but to the dining hall. You chose Kaori-san? I asked anyway. I was speaking to the last representative of sanity in this place, Kiyonosuke Nasato. Move. We didn't even converse. His tone and the look in his eyes were different from usual. His usual arrogant pride was gone, and in its place stood a deadly determination. Yasunaga-kun? I lost. Haru-chan? I was against it. Oba-san?
It's the will of the Shinai-sama.
Kemi? Haruki-san, take the girl. Miko was at the rear of the group. Somewhat hesitantly, she walked up to me. I moved aside to let them pass. They all entered the dining hall and dragged out the victim. One's holding the ropes and doing the dragging were Konosuke Nasato and Kemi Serizawa. Following behind was Tei Yamakawa, prodding her onward with a bamboo broom. Stop! As his mother cried out in pain, Yasunaga Oribe followed the group, hand in hand with Haru Makishima. Stop them!
Haru Makashima was bawling. Yasunaga Oribe was shaking, not even trying to hide his sobs. His face was warped in anguish. Someone! As the group faded away, the gag fell out and the victim's voice grew loud. Not a scrap of reason remained, only raw terror. Or perhaps madness. Oh, please, someone, beg for her life. However, I didn't hear any pleas to the very end, and I painfully realized I wasn't participating in the feast. I wasn't part of this life selection game bound by otherworldly rules.
Ba?
Don't look. I turned Miko away, hugged her, and covered her ears. Because of that, I couldn't cover my own. Parent-like dedication. A weird idea. Anyway, as the group disappeared into the mist, I somehow felt as though the screams or laughs grew even clearer. I was subjected to this illusion until the very end. During the final moments, the mother called out her son's name. It was the name of the eldest son, and he responded by calling for his mother. At the very last moment, it felt like the victim shouted out a different name. There was a strange sound, followed by silence. Miko. Miko's body was surprisingly warm. In response, she just nodded. Let's escape from this place tomorrow. She nodded again. Give up on Rikako Yuimatsu. Miko started crying. I let her go, took her by the hand. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we sent what's her name to go to the sun too. Yeah. So she only sent her son on the errand, and we were the one who ended up having Haru join the rest of them too. Okay. I let her go, took her by the hand, and led her to the dorm. There, I took all the remaining food I had. Then I escorted her back to her place. Lock up. I'll come to pick you up tomorrow morning. Still crying, she nodded. Eat this. All of it, okay? I gave her some food and closed the door. Once I turned around, I saw them. Today's feast is over. There wasn't a hint of emotion in his voice. I see. And one who didn't participate in the feast, I was in no position to criticize or support them. They just turned around and returned to their places, leaving no indicator whether they'd actually heard me. 3 of them were headed in the same direction. I didn't feel like joining them, instead casting a glare at their backs as they walked. My powerlessness was killing me. Under the assumption I would die tomorrow, I decided I would go through the mist down to Saranaga, a strict taboo here. What kind of death would that get me? Would I be injured? Wander into some other world? Something else entirely? Or perhaps I'd be eaten by a monster. I still had that incomprehensible memory, but it was enough to make me suspect that it was the most likely scenario. Normally, people didn't remember dying. The unknown was scary, but journeying into the unknown meant conquering that fear, so you could stay there while some perks were remaining to death. All right, I'm going to get some more water. I'll be back. Also, when we dumped the one body into the river and didn't hear a splash, we still don't know what Kemi was doing down by the river when we first met her. So she could have been doing a dam, or she could have been doing something there on that river. So that's still a mystery we don't know the full answer to yet. But I'll be back. I'll get some water. The unknown was scary, but journeying into the unknown meant conquering that fear, so you could stay there were some perks to remembering that death. But if it was guaranteed that I would die like that, I wasn't really keen on the idea. That it hurt like hell, not to mention how terrifying the experience was. Then think of a better way to die, one that won't hurt so much, or at least would be worth the pain. Like if it led to the survival of a young child. Anyway, I'd wager my life. All that remained was finding supporters. I closed my eyes and took a few deep breaths. Whoosh. I threw Yakuza kick into the wall. Rah. Then I did a low kick with the other leg. Which Yakuza kick? Are you talking about 0 and 1 when you had different stances? If so, Beast stance would probably be the best. Maybe pick up a motorcycle and smash it through the thing. If we're talking Yakuza 2, which is the only other one I played, don't even bother trying. That fighting style kind of sucks. Unless you're using the silly mod, then you might be able to pull off something ridiculous. Then I did a low kick with the other leg. Ha! The 7 treasures have finally been lost. To the elements the sacred orb reduced to rust. In the jungle of the decadent void, the Buddha's corpse shouts out, Rah! As I sang the Buddha's ash rock, I attacked the wall with my ass.